Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ask Dubey. Hockey season's just around the corner, so we'll be getting back to our weekly shows. Right now, we're just bi-weekly. This episode is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. All right, we're going to dive right into the questions this week. First question is from Lance Kane. Doobie, I noticed the poke check has gone out of style with modern goalies. Is there a reason for it, and should it come back? That's a great question. Yes, I think it should come back. I think it's a very useful tool that has definitely gone away a little bit. I just don't think that it's taught as much. I don't think it's taught to younger goalies. I think there's a lot of focus. Obviously, the position has grown a ton. There's been a ton of evolution. I think that there's been so much poured into all of the different technical aspects of goaltending that the poke check has kind of got forgotten about a little bit. And it's a great play. There's still guys that use it really well. Shesterkin uses it well to me. There's lots of different ways to poke check. You can be aggressive. You can send it like I used to. I'm sure there's lots of video clips. That was half my highlight videos, or me just Superman diving at guys' ankles. I learned that at a young age and just kind of went with it. You know, I had a 10-foot wingspan when I dove, probably longer. So that was easy for me, but I just kind of developed that. And for me, it was all timing. It was almost always left-handed shot coming down the left wing, partial breakaway. He had to have back pressure on him. Couldn't be clear cut, or sometimes it could if he really put his head down, but it was usually in game, left shot, left wing, with a full head of steam getting chased. So he knew he had pressure on him, so he had to have full speed. And I would time it. I'd come out to play it like a breakaway a few feet outside of my crease. And instead of then retreating and getting my motion backwards, I would just hold my ice right there. I'd let him get closer and closer to me, and I'd just time it. This is the second he put his head down and looked down at the ice, it was full send for me. I went poke check at the puck, but I was also going directly at the skates. So if I missed the puck, he wasn't going to score. He was going to go flying, and you had to really commit to that. And that was just something that I did all through junior, that I learned, that my dad taught me when I was a kid. So I would also do it on the other side, not as much. Obviously, that was the other way, so almost a backhanded poke check. But similar situation, then had to be a right-handed shot on the right side, usually with that back pressure where he's a little bit focused on the guy pressuring him and chasing him. If it's a clear cut or a shootout and he's just got eyes on you, you don't want to do it as much, because you tip your cap a little bit when you start to go into it. The guy's got eyes on you. If he's got a guy chasing him down, he's going to be concerned about that. He's going to have a full head of steam. And again, he's looking at the guy behind him. As soon as he puts his head down, you got to go. It's just harder on that blocker side going this way to really get into his feet and get him tangled up, as it is just going head first this way. So that's one way to do it. I don't really see that coming back. It's not really taught to the younger goalies as much, but I think use of the stick just around the net, and then you can kind of get that intermediate passive to aggressive poke check, where you can still really go at it, but keep your structure and be able to move side to side. The more aggressive you get, obviously, it opens you up. If you do miss it, you're going to be off balance, moving side to side. 5 holes going to be open and all that stuff. So you can then go from that and become less and less aggressive to where it's almost a passive poke check, where it does come out and you're trying to deter the move. You are trying to poke the puck, but it's almost a follow. If you don't get it, or just giving the player almost something to run into, or even stick handle around, and you can move it around. So you can be super aggressive with it, or you can be passive. Same thing around the net on low walks when the guys come out, just getting the stick out there, whether you hold it at the paddle and get it out a little further, be a little more aggressive with it to get in his way, or even extending it, sliding your hand all the way down and reaching out kind of in a passive way and just getting it in the way. I think that it's a very effective tool, especially when you can do it and keep your balance, keep your structure. Again, that's the dangerous part, is if you get overreaching, if you go too early, if you get off balance, you're unable to move out of it and you start to open up. So it's something that I think would be definitely beneficial to start to teach the kids again, and all the way up through. just using that stick, because you can break up passes, you can break up anything in tight, you can throw a guy off on a breakaway. There's lots of different things that can happen. So I think it's just because of all of the other fundamental things and technical side of the game that is being taught. It's a lot, and there's a lot being put on goalies and a lot of things to learn that are probably more important. But I definitely think it's a beneficial thing that guys can add in their toolbox when they play. All right, we'll move on to the next question from Tom Jakniski. Hey, Devan, glad you're doing this. 3 questions. Looks like it's just 1 question, but what was the highlight of your career? It doesn't have to be an Edmonton moment in general. Tough to pick one. I'm going to go with a couple different ones here. I think that one highlight was getting my first win. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it. You probably were, but it took me a while to get that first one. I think it was my 11th start. Quick little story on that, if I haven't told it already. I was grinding away. I was struggling to get my footing in Edmonton. Obviously, we weren't a great team, and I was slowly starting to piece my game together and getting a little better, but just couldn't come up with a win. Came close in a couple shootouts, and it was getting long. It was getting long before that first win, and the morning of the game, I woke up and I was playing the game, and my sister had sent me a message, and she said, "Hey, don't worry." It was something to the degree of, "Don't worry about that article. It's not a big deal. Just go play," or something like that. And I was like, what article? And I guess that morning there had been an article put out in the paper talking about me approaching the modern day record for most starts without a win. And I still had a little bit of a buffer. I think this was my 11th start at the time, I believe, and 16, I think, was the record. So getting a little too close for comfort. But anyway, I go into that game. We played Detroit that night, and Detroit was a good team. They had all Zetterberg, Datsuk, Lidstrom, Franzen, Holmstrom. They were a good team, and we played well that night. Guys battled hard. It was a 2-1 game, pretty controlled game. I felt good and was playing good. And about 10 seconds left, the puck goes in the corner. We got a 2-1 lead. They got the goalie pulled, and my buddy Theo Peckham goes in the corner, and for whatever reason decides that the best play is to drop his stick and lay on the puck, which in hindsight was not the right play, or ever for that matter. But tries to lay on the puck, and when you got Zetterberg and Datsuk, Franzen trying to pick it out of there, you can imagine who's going to end up with the puck. So sure enough, puck pops out. Can't remember who got the puck, but they pass it back door to Brian Rafalski, and he hammered it in the back of the net with 0.3 seconds left, which was just devastating. The green light went on. They had to go to replay, see if it had actually crossed the line. I was 0.3 seconds away from getting that first win. And now I'm going into overtime, and I already lost a couple overtime games and a couple shootouts. So my mind was racing. I couldn't think. Just tried to keep everything level, not think about the outcome. Just go get through overtime, just minute at a time, 30 seconds at a time at this point. Managed to get through overtime and stop Filppula in the 3rd round of the shootout to win. And I remember he went backhand, forehand to my blocker, and I reached out. I just got the end of my blocker on it. I didn't feel it that much, and so it was kind of out the corner of my eye. I didn't see the puck right away. I actually thought there was a chance that he scored, and then I just saw the puck go into the corner, and it was the biggest relief of my life to get that first win, and I'll never forget that one for sure. Kind of moving on down in my career, I think that winning the first round of playoffs against St. Louis, the year I got traded to Minnesota, was a pretty big highlight. I know it's just the first round, but it was my first trip to the playoffs. I'd obviously got traded to Minnesota that year, went on the crazy run, played 38 games in a row. We got into the playoffs with 3 games to go, winning in Chicago. And then we faced St. Louis in the first round. It was a really good hockey team. And that was an experience for me going through the playoffs. Started out with a win. We went back and forth in the series. They tied the series 2-2. We got blown out at home, and I didn't play very well. And so that was kind of the turning point of the series, really. We're going back to St. Louis, and they had all the momentum. And we went in there, and we got a big win in St. Louis. Came back home, and it was an afternoon game in St. Paul. And the city is just crazy at playoff time, and just the atmosphere is cool that it was an afternoon game. So we went in, and the place was just buzzing in there. We scored shorthanded in the first 2 minutes, and the roof just about blew off. Managed to win that game and win the series. And it was just, I remember coming out of the rink and it was still light outside, and downtown St. Paul was just place. It was going crazy. Everybody was still celebrating. Nothing I'd ever experienced before. That was definitely a big highlight for me. Next question up from Adam. What was your favorite and least favorite part about Rexall Place? This is a great question. Rexall was a unique place, and obviously being an older rink, it had its quirks, but it was also kind of a special place. When I first signed with Edmonton, it was 2006. I got to be there and witness that cup run and really just see something kind of undescribable with how loud it was in that building. It was just absolute insanity. So that was kind of always burned in my brain and had a special place for me. So, the noise when things got going, when that place got rocking, unfortunately we didn't get it rocking too often when we were playing, but when it did, it was pretty awesome. The dressing room was phenomenal. It had been remodeled and was really, really well done. So getting to go there every day, and we practiced there, almost all the time as well. So getting to spend the time in that room, it's a place that you spend a lot of time with the guys in. So when you have a great space like that was really well laid out, really well thought out, and the amenities were incredible, that's where you spend the majority of your time. That was an incredible part about Rexall. Two of my least favorite things about Rexall Place. One, outside parking. There was no indoor parking at Rexall Place, and everybody knows how cold it gets in Edmonton in the winter. And so fortunately for us, we had guys that were working at the rink that were great and were helping us. So our cars would be started and warmed up when you came out, but you're still walking in a suit out to your car. And when you park it to go in and practice days and that, having your car freezing cold when you get out there, that was not the best ever. And even when it snowed and there's piles of snow on your car, not the best thing ever. And lastly, when I was on the ice, the lighting was tough, and they fixed it toward the end, but for a long time they didn't have the lighting equaled out on both sides. And I realized that going into the CBA negotiations in the 2012, a lot of things get talked about in CBA negotiations. Obviously, the money and everything is front and center, but a lot of things happen in those negotiations as well that have to do with hockey and making the game better and different things. And I realized I wasn't the only one who felt that way with the lighting in Rexall, and there were other goalies talking to them that there's just a lot of shadows the way they had it set. They didn't have the lighting bright enough, and it was too bright at one part, so there's shadows being cast. And so it was tough, especially at the start of games, the start of periods when the ice was freshly flooded. There was just a lot of shadows, a lot of crisscrossing shadows. So when guys are moving around, the puck's moving around, it was difficult. It wasn't easy compared to newer rinks with some really nice lighting. That just doesn't exist. So there are definitely some challenges with the lighting and the shadows when you were playing. Got used to it a little bit. Maybe I had a little bit of an advantage compared to guys that come in there. I remember going to Nassau Coliseum in the island. I only played there once, and that was the worst lighting I'd ever seen in my life. I remember pucks being in the neutral zone, and I'm like, if this guy shoots the puck at me, I'm not going to be able to see it. It's so dark in there, and there's so many shadows. So that was, fortunately, I didn't have to play there all the time, but when I say it was an advantage to play at Rexall with being used to lighting, maybe it wasn't, because I think let in a lot of goals there. But they fixed it after. It was one thing, small thing that they talked about, getting all the arenas with equal lighting and having the same type of look. So it was better after the lockout, but definitely a challenge in Rexall Place. Next question here, another one from Lance Kane. He's always got really good questions, so we have to bank some of them because we could have an Ask Dubey featuring Lance Kane, which we just might do one day, Lance, so keep the questions coming. What are some good drills beer league goalies and kids can do to help with focus and tracking the puck? That's a great question, because you can really, this is something that I've been passionate about, something that I'm teaching in my Dubnyk development consulting thing, and it's head tracking. It's proper puck tracking, and you can get down to just the simplest way to do it in how your body moves with beer league goalies or youth goalies. And really it's thinking about looking down at the puck through the center of your eyes. So you can just do skating drills. You can do passes from the top of the circle to the other top of the circle and shot. So you can start, push, cross, stop, set, take a shot. Same thing going back and forth. And the key for your tracking and your focus on the puck is making sure that you're looking down at the puck through the middle of your eyes. So you're not getting in your stance and looking up here and looking down. You're forward, looking down through the middle of your eyes. When the pass then goes, is really slowing it down and following it, same thing, through the middle of your eyes. So you're not looking up and away, you're following it down across and then making your motion. So you can really slow it down with youth goalies, with beer league goalies, and then dumb it down and then pick the pace up. So as the pass comes, really exaggerate that looking down head turn and then push and then get set. And that's going to help with the up and down movement as well. Take the shot, start on the other side, really exaggerate looking down and then push, and then you can start to speed the pace up. But at the start, you can really almost let that puck get halfway over there before you move any part of your body other than your head, and then move and start to feel the way that naturally turns your shoulders and drives you into the angle that you need to be on. And then as you start to get a feel for it, you can pick it up. And really you can kind of add that concept to any drill that you do, any skating drill, is really exaggerate that down look of the head before you move. Really turn first, then move, get comfortable with that, and then start to make it a little quicker to where it's just you almost can't notice the first head turn, but that's always the first thing that you want to do. As soon as you start moving body first, you're opening up, you're getting off balance, you're going to end up in and out, coming on flat angles, and everything goes wrong. So that's a simple thing to do with really anybody, beer leaguers, youth goalies, is just really exaggerating that head turn, but also it's not up and away, it's down, tracking down to the puck, and then you can see how that feels. All right, that's it for another episode of Ask Dubey. I know you guys are excited. I'm super excited for this hockey season to get going. Don't forget to send your questions in all social media platforms, #AskDubey, or put your question in the comment section below here. We'll get them answered. If we don't get them answered, we're putting them in the bank. We'll try to get to every question, but please keep them coming. It's a lot of fun doing this and a lot of fun seeing all the different questions that get submitted. This segment has been brought to you by our friends at Wilhauk Beef Jerky. Only the finest tasting meat products earn the Wilhauk name. From 100% pure Alberta beef, Wilhauk Beef Jerky is aged, seasoned, marinated, and smoked to savory perfection. So good. Wilhauk Beef Jerky gladly fills orders of any size. Find their beef jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc location, or you can order online. Get your jerky on. For more info, go to wilhaukbeefjerky.com.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.